Bugonia is a 2025 sci-fi thriller directed by Yorgos Lanthimos and stars Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons. Two conspiracy-obsessed young men kidnap the high-powered CEO of a major company, convinced that she is an alien intent on destroying planet Earth. Yorgos Lanthimos is the director that have caught my eye since Poor Things, and for the most part, I thought that film was incredible. I thought it was beautifully put together in terms of the editing, the production design, the music, the acting, the cinematography. And when I heard that he was making another movie this year, I was very interested to see what it could be. Went to the film just expecting a really interesting film by him with a probably smart script, smart characters, and interesting premise to go along with immaculate production design. And for the most part, it's what I got. It's not another Poor Things. I don't think it's as good as Poor Things, but I think this is still another engaging film in this filmography that has so much to say and just has so much to showcase its creativity. The production design and overall look and cinematography of the film is immaculate. This is probably one of the best looking films of this year. Its aspect ratio that it chose to be is not quite 4:3, but in a way I really enjoyed how the kind of aspect ratio we would often assume would be the square-like space is a bit unconventional because it's showing visuals in its own kind of frame that it chooses. It's not subjecting itself to any other frame just for the sake of it being the standard use of that space. This has its own creative look. Each shot felt like it has an intent to what it's showing, whether a prop is in one corner of the frame or how the entire set is supposed to look in your eyes. There is a purpose to everything shown at you, and the film does a great job of visually showcasing what the characters are going through visually in terms of their emotions, in terms of the way they act or what they do. The film does a good job at expressing all that based on its visuals, and it does a really good job when it comes to the actors playing these characters. Emma Stone as a CEO that gets kidnapped is incredible. You really buy into her as this kind of egotistical CEO that feels heartless but knows all the right things to say, hopefully, in order to try and get out of this kidnapping, hopefully unscathed. But there's a sense to her performance where she feels like she is used to this a bit, or that she feels too comfortable in what is going on. Like, she clearly doesn't like it, but you could tell that something is off with her. And it kind of leaves you wondering if these two guys are right in some ways. For the most part, you feel like these guys are just crazy conspiracy theorists. But the film does a good job at getting us to explore the dynamics between these two brothers and what they've gone through, what they've lost, and you truly get a sense that they do care for one another, but to a certain extent, because the film does a good job at showcasing that there are certain things about these characters that are just as awful as what they assumed the CEO they kidnapped to be. And in many ways, they can also be viewed as the real bad guys. And so you are left wondering, who are you really rooting for in this situation? Because the opening of the film also is really interesting. It's probably one of my favorite openings of this year, where we get a perspective of our two conspiracy theorist brothers, that in the way that the film presents them as a protagonist, and that they're doing things for a good cause, and that the CEO The film does a good job at presenting her as like this authoritarian figure that doesn't care about the people around her. But then by the end of the opening, we see that these two brothers are doing very heinous acts in terms of working on this kidnapping, and we see that these guys are terrible in some ways as well. And what the CEO is going through is not earned from what we understand so far in the story. So that opening of the film does a really good job at setting up the kind of expectations and character dynamics and what the plot is going to be about all throughout the course of the film. It's that tug of war aspect that these characters have, trying to convince each other about their ideology and what they believe is right or wrong. And I really enjoy that dynamic all throughout the film as the tension rises higher, higher, and higher. The music of the film also does a great job at expressing all of those emotions to you. There's a very grandiose feel to the score that encapsulates every shot and every decision that the character makes, whatever action they take. The music is almost surrounding the entire scene with such tension or atmosphere whenever the characters are in an outside environment. There's just something that feels so big and operatic about the score that makes this small, contained sci-fi thriller into something that feels a lot bigger than what it is. The score does a great job at helping the characters and the discussions that they have feel like they have a lot of weight to what's going on. And that's what a great score should do. It should give the dialogue, these moments, the weight they feel they deserve, or what the characters intend. If I do have to have any flaws with the film, I will say that the ending, while I get the intent, I'm not sure where I entirely land on it, because the rest of the film presents one thing, and while I get how we got to the ending, and I like how certain things of it tied back to what we have seen or talked about in the rest of the film, I felt like it lost a bit of the contained kind of thriller-esque things that the rest of the film was trying to be, in order to present something that just felt out of nowhere and weird and like, whoa. And it was like pure Yorgos Lanthimos creativity on display. I just not sure where I land on it. I'm not sure whether I like the ending and what it'd gone for, whether I think it should have done something a bit more grounded and more human and have us relate to one of the characters emotionally a whole lot more. It's just one of those endings where I get the intent and I understand it, and I just don't know whether I like it or not. It's like one of those weird endings that just left me a bit confuddled, but it gave me a lot to think about at least, and I really enjoyed the music choice it had, in the way it had this kind of cynical end by the end of everything that has gone on, but in a way it could be seen as a bit too cynical for some, which I could understand. I know this ending is just really divisive for me, but it does not take away from the rest of the film's brilliance in terms of its filmmaking, its storytelling, its themes, its music, its cinematography. Everything else about this film, I honestly thought was great. Is it a poor thing? No. I think the ending kind of lets it down just a bit, just because I'm like really divided on what the ending really is supposed to be. But all in all, if you are a Yorgos Lanthimos fan and you're really excited to see another film from him, I highly recommend you guys go check this one out. This is another major hit for this guy, and I'm very excited to see what he does next. I'm gonna give Bugonia an A-. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.